Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. We're here for a little full-time match reaction after it is finished in Girona. Girona 0, Liverpool 1. 6 wins from 6 in the Champions League. Still perfect, much like my regular co-hosts. Kev, we just keep ticking over in that Champions League, making it look easy.
Yeah, I don't know about making it look easy, but it was one we wanted to chalk off. You know, it was the first game that we hadn't. At times, it looked like we hadn't played in a week. You know, I was saying to you before we came on, it kind of looked like the first game after an international break. That's what it kind of felt like. It was a good win, good solid win. I think it was a deserved win, but it's a game of few chances. If that had ended a draw, I don't think we could have had any arguments about it. We didn't really work their keeper enough, created a few good chances. They had a couple of good chances as well. It was a tight game. But look, job done. 6 from 6. Nice to get a clean sheet away from home. You know, they've been becoming a bit of a rarity over the last few games. So that's a good habit to get back into, and good to see Alisson back. So yeah, happy days.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much covered it all off. We can get out of here in record time. I mean, Chris, Kev says getting back to clean sheets is good, but I haven't quite done the math, but it's been a fair number of minutes since we've given up a goal in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think we're 13 goals to 1 in Europe, and I think we conceded after, was it 2 minutes against AC Milan, and then that's been it. So we're making a nice habit of getting clean sheets in Europe. Today was probably the perfect game for Slot, as in got the win, 6 wins out of 6. Wasn't a perfect performance, but probably got a few cobwebs out of the system, ready for the bigger game, which is Fulham. And also for Girona, that's their biggest European game they've ever had. So it was all, those sort of games are always tough when it's their biggest game. So listen, happy, could have been better, but listen, 6 out of 6. There's only 4 teams now who can mathematically overtake us. Happy days.
Yeah. I mean, we just keep ticking on. We should probably know our status is confirmed in the top 8 and getting that first knockout round by the time the 10 o'clock show is on tonight, because I think there's enough teams playing currently right now that we should kind of know the shakedown of what the table's going to look like. Ashley.
Well, Bayern Munich are losing.
What?
Already. Bayern Munich are losing, and Aston Villa are 1-0 up as well against Leipzig. So the Germans aren't doing well at the moment.
There you go. We'll get live score updates throughout the show from everybody here on the panel and presumably also in the chat. Ashley, the lineup drops, and considering the canceled Merseyside derby on Saturday and the 19-man list that was making the trip over, it was pretty obviously we were going to go quite strong, but it sure is nice to see that Alisson Becker with his beard back and in between the sticks for Liverpool again. Was there any other surprises in that lineup for you, or just the delight of seeing goalkeeper 1 back?
I mean, I feel like having the beard back is like an extra cherry on top. I feel like that's important. I don't know. The no beard alley thing kind of throws me for a loop. But yeah, having him back between the sticks, you could tell today. I wish we didn't need him quite as much as we did today, but I mean, he really is a fantastic goalkeeper. And I think, he saved us more than I would have liked him to save us today. But yeah, overall, I don't think there was any particular surprises. I mean, I think there was, a few people that were shouting for Kwanzaa at center back. I truly think that the Gomez VVD thing is the partnership that Slot's going to go with. I mean, our midfield kind of picked itself because Maka was out with the suspension, which I think is great for him. He gets a bit of a rest for this game and the Fulham game. Elliott got some minutes. But yeah, I think overall it's kind of what we expected. I think his first team is his first team right now.
Yeah, I really agree with the idea that it seems like he wants a settled center back partner for Virgil van Dijk, and with Konate being out, it's going to be Gomez that gets it. And Kev, looking at their lineup, it's like an ex-Premier League squad again. AC Milan had the same sort of thing, but I mean, I counted 6 players on their starting 11 that have had Premier League experience before, and some of them looked a lot better than I remembered them.
Yeah, look, Gazziniga is always a decent keeper. Nothing spectacular, but he's always a decent shot stopper. Daily Blind is been around the block because his experience is days long. And even when he was at United, he was one of those steady eddies, and you need that, especially if you're a side who's not used to competing in Europe. The other one, Donny van de Beek, wrong move, wrong club, right time. It was the right time for him to move, but it was the wrong club that he went to. Definitely felt like, do you know what? And I always believe this. He should have moved to Spurs. It was he needed to go to that club before he went to the club, kind of thing. Romeo, solid 6. He's not going to do you anything. He won't generally do you any damage, but he'll do a job. Brian Gill never really settled at Spurs. Came with a big reputation. Came for good money as well. Dan Juma always flattered to deceive. Everything up to the final third with Dan Juma has always been very good. His end product is disastrous. But for me, the one that stood out all night long was Asprilla. Asprilla stood out as he's got a bit of quality about him. He won't be there long. But the one thing you can say for Girona, and they mentioned it in our commentary all night long, they're going to be a feeder club. I think they've massively overachieved last year because of having Dovbyk in the side, who's top scorer in La Liga last season, went to Roma, and your man Savinho went to Man City. They're two big, glaring, huge misses that when you're asking the likes of Dan Juma and Stuani to try to fit, they just can't do it. They're just not good enough. But I think they're 6th in the league at the minute, something like that. If they can get back into the European places this season, they'll have had a really good season. But as it stands at the minute, a lot of familiar names in that side, but a few of them played really well. The actual one thing I want to say, the manager, Michel, was a really good player. He was a really good player, but you can tell why he's highly rated. Tactically, he's set up really, really well. We didn't get too many clear, good, top quality chances, but I think he's really highly regarded. So he's another one I don't expect to be at Girona very long.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me to see him get a move into the Premier League at some point, especially with the vacancies that are going to be coming up.
Or someone else in the City group.
Yeah, but no, I think Girona is probably the one club now in that City group below Man City. They're probably number 2 in the ranking overall because of the prestigiousness of the league that they're in.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about their manager, he did have them very well set up. He did have them very well drilled. The way they passed the ball around at the back at points in the game was quite impressive. That's not giving any shades to Southampton, but their manager looks an awful lot like dollar store Colin Farrell. Like that guy looks like Colin Farrell. That's the extent of my knowledge on their manager, Michel. Chris, the first 10 minutes, it looked like a team that's at the top of the Champions League against a team that's really struggling with their first taste of Champions League level football. We were dominant in the opening minutes, and my God, Joe Gomez. It's as close as he's ever come, Chris, and it's starting to get to the point where I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Told you, Joe Gomez is only scoring the winner in a cup final or the one that wins you the league. Otherwise, he's going to do a full Rob Jones and just never score. No, first 10 minutes, you think Liverpool dominance, what you'd expect. They just didn't take the opportunity, really. Didn't work Gazaniga enough and probably missed the best opportunities, which probably gave them a little bit of hope. They were probably quite pleased they rode up the first 10 minutes, and then they probably we had a bit of a mad 10 minutes where we sort of lost control of the game, gave them a few opportunities. But if I'm honest, by half-time, I thought both keeps had saves to make, but I thought they're all saves that you would expect Alisson to make, and they were saves you'd expect Gazaniga to make. I didn't think any were like, worldy saves or, amazing saves. I thought most of them were pretty routine.
Yeah, I said to you guys at halftime, I said that half looked like it was worse than I think it actually was. And I mean, Ashley, I don't know what your take on it was. I agree with Chris that we had 10 minutes of dominance. Then they had 10 minutes where they were all over us. And then for the final 25 minutes of the first half, it was a little swayed back and forth. And both teams looked like they might be on the cusp of doing something dangerous and never really capitalized on any of the momentum that either team built. And it just kind of settled into a stalemate as we kind of worked our way towards the half.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first 10 minutes, I was like, okay, this is great. Like, we're going to fight back from the Newcastle game and, finally have a little bit more pep in our step. And we were peppering their goal for a very brief period of time and then just died away. I think, I don't know. It just felt like the final ball was missing for us and for them. For us, it almost felt like we were trying to walk the ball into the net, or if we were trying to hit Nunez, it just wasn't a successful connection. And I'm sure we'll talk about Nunez a little bit because we were all kind of expressing a bit of frustration there. But yeah, everything just felt like a yard off. Like it needed to be fine tuned a little bit. And it was a frustrating watch. I think all of us wanted to shake off the cobwebs that we saw last week. We didn't get the chance to do that over the Everton game. This game didn't, I know it was controlled in a way, but it didn't inspire a ton of confidence in me. I would have liked to have seen more control, and I felt like the tempo was just a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, kind of 2 games on the trot now where that control that we've come to feel very calmed with, or at least I have with Arne Slot, has been a little bit missing. Before I go to Kev, though, Ashley, what were your thoughts on Darwin Nunez? Because I think he was kind of the biggest talking point from the first half, because I had him down at having 4 chances. He had the 2 shots. The first one was kind of with his left foot, and it was too easy for Gazzaniga. The second one, he doesn't get wide enough. Gazzaniga makes a save. And then there was a couple headers in there where I felt that the header chances looked really bad, but I don't know if they were actually good chances. What was your take, Ashley, on Darwin's first half?
I mean, I said to you guys at halftime, he reminds me of a computer that has gotten too much information stuffed into it and it's now malfunctioning. I think he's gotten so many different messages about what kind of center forward work he wants to be doing at this club, whether it's from Klopp, whether it's from Pep Linders, whether it's now from Slot. And I just don't know if he has the footballing intelligence to sort through that and let go of the information that he doesn't need anymore. Because right now it seems like he's so bogged down in his own head tactically that everything that was coming instinctually is now in the back burner of his brain, and it's not happening because that was the one thing that kind of pulled Darwin Nunez through as a thread in the past at our club, is he had the instinctual finishes. And the fact that those are gone now too, I think just leaves us all really questioning where he is in the team right now. And I don't want to give up on a player. I hate giving up on players, but I think that we were also talking about the fact that this was a big opportunity with Jota out for him to seize a spot, or at least just, stake a claim in the team. And I can't really remember anything that he's done while Jota's been out that has been yes, that is why he should be in the team. And that's really kind of discouraging.
Yeah. I mean, Kev, it's becoming a too common theme. People the Mouse says Darwin on 3 goals is sad. Ant Mick 1313, he's just not good enough in front of goal. And then Kieran B saying the same thing that Ashley was just saying there, that he had his chance with Jota out and he's done nothing to make himself undroppable. And what do you do, Kev? Does he just ride the pine, or do you think Slot might try to persist with him and see if he can squeeze something out of Darwin Nunez?
Be honest, I think that Slot needs to be ruthless here. The thing is, he's regressed. He's gone backwards. Today was a tight game, all right? In a tight game, he had 4 chances. 2 of them were half chances. The one with his left foot and the one that he was through with. The really, really good one. I was saying it to Chris, put it into the group at halftime. I said, look, if you go back to the masterclass that Michael Owen talked about with strikers and finishing on BT Sport, going back a couple of years ago, it wasn't just about Darwin, it was about strikers in general. Strikers in certain situations in the box have muscle memory about what type of finish they need in certain situations. If you're on your weak foot, you've got you've got options, but those options need to be instinct and they need to be like muscle memory, and they're not. His idea with the left foot was lash as hard as you can at the goal and hope. And the one where he was through on goal, all he has to do is sideput that into a corner. Find a corner. And that's all he has to do. The one where there was a ball that was deflected up in the air and he tried to head it back to someone. He had so much time, but he didn't have the awareness that he had the time. He had the time to take that down in his chest, take a touch with it on the ground and slot it away. But he didn't have the awareness of what was going on around him to see what was going on. I mean, look, last year he scored goals. You know, despite what everyone says, he scored goals. In all competitions, he had a decent record. But in a tight game like today, when you have 4 chances and you don't score, and it's not like a new thing, it's the same record. We've seen this game all season long. He doesn't score enough. And when you're so over-reliant on someone like Mo Salah, then that's a big, huge problem because you can't trust Jota. And I think that come the summertime, both of them should be gone. Because if you're going to be building a side for Arne Slot to manage for the next 3 to 4 years, you can't have 2 strikers at the club that you can't depend on. I know Jota's injury was unfortunate, all right? And you can't help it when someone who's like 14 stone lands on you and bruises your ribs. That's one of those things. But he just doesn't play enough football. Simple as that. And Darwin, when he gets the chance, doesn't take it yet again. And I'd love to be able to say, you know, give him time, it'll come. Ain't going to come. He's just not a natural goal scorer. He's not a natural finisher. He doesn't have the instinct of a striker, and he never will. At his age, he'll never have it. All right? It's unfortunate. He would do, I think, if he was in that Girona side tonight, he would do really well. Because
I think a different league would suit him better.
Yeah. But I just think if you have him in a side like Girona, where you're playing against opponents who leave space in behind for you to run into, then he's gonna get more. He'll do okay. But for how we play, and you saw it again tonight with the first half, where it was pretty even on chances, but we dominated the ball pretty much. Right? It was a really slow game that burst into life for a few minutes, and then we put our foot in it and slowed it right down again. He's not that kind of striker. He's not that guy. I don't know who is. I think that there isn't that many out there that you'd look at and say you'd hang your hat on. But at the minute, he's not it. And no amount of wishing is going to make that change.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because, I mean, while he's still wearing the shirt, everybody obviously wants him to come good, and nobody's going to be upset if Darwin scores, 5 and 6 games in March and April sort of thing. That would be absolutely lovely. But I mean, you talk about instinctual strikers, Kev, and the need for that. You want to talk about instinctual strikers. There's not a whole lot better than Luis Suarez, who is the feature prize at footballprizes.co.uk for the current contest they have going on right now. I believe it runs for another few days. Limited number of tickets. There's all sorts of other signed jerseys from other striker legends at Liverpool and Darwin Nunez as well in there too. So head on over to footballprizes.co.uk and get one of those. Chris, we can talk about Darwin Nunez and we can talk about Diogo Jota, fluffing lines in front of goal and not being available. I'll tell you who is available, Chris, and who can score goals. And I said it to you guys at halftime, said Mo wasn't good, but it's the type of game where he scores. We could talk about the penalty, but at the end of the day, Mo Salah scores a goal for Liverpool again. 50 in the Champions League now for Mo.
50 in Champions League, one behind Bill Little to go, joint fourth. I think it's about 5 off. I think it's about 12 off third. It's just ridiculous, isn't he? It's just inevitable. And it's good, to be fair to Mo, it's a good pen because some people are very nervous about his pens. Hello, Kev. But he took his took a really good pen. Even the keeper dived the right way, he isn't getting it. So and look, in general, Mo was quiet. I actually thought a lot of our attacks went down the left. I don't think he was actually that involved in the game, but generally 9 times out of 10, when the opportunity's there, he'll make sure he does it.
And what's your take on the penalty? Because first seeing it live and seeing the first two replays of it, it looks like a dive.
full disclosure, I messaged you guys and said, I don't think that's a penalty. I think he slipped. I just went, I think he slipped and the guy stood on him. That's why he's down. Until you saw the angle from behind when he stands on his heel and rips his boot off, and you go, yeah, if you stand on the guy's ankle, it's a penalty. Ignore Rio Ferdinand and Steve McManaman, who were just saying, like, I'd be really disappointed. Yeah, I'd be really disappointed if my defender, the guy come back to defend, stands on the guy's ankle. If he stands on someone's ankle, it's going to be a penalty. But on first replay, I generally just thought Diaz has slipped and the guy stood on him. You know, it looked painful. That's it. It's only until they showed the angle from behind that the referee got you went, right, now I can see why he's gone down. Because they wonder how his boot got off. So
yeah, that was the giveaway when he's standing there holding his boot or sitting holding his boot in his hand. I'm like, hey, how did that happen?
Yeah, when you have visual evidence of the foul, I think that really helps in your corner.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ashley, I felt that the penalty, as soft as you might think it is, I mean, I just think it's just a penalty. He stands on his ankle. But I think that was the just rewards. I know there's no just rewards in football, but we had an excellent 2-3 minute spell that led up to the goal. And it felt to me like a goal was going to come. I thought maybe it was going to be Robbo on the shot that gets parried away by Gazzaniga before they refer it to VAR. But that was the bright spark in the second half. I really felt for us, where we had a couple of minutes where we put the foot down, we penned them in, and we were creating chances, and in the end, it pays off.
Yeah, I mean, the game deserved a goal. I think there was 17 shots overall throughout the entire game, which was a fair few, and it came from both teams. It was pretty equally matched. But, you know, we had a good period of dominance in that second half. I mean, there was a period of time where we were just kind of holding them back and just passing around, and they had all 10 men behind the ball plus the keeper. And I do think that it was just rewards, but at the same time, I feel like we got fortunate, because on another day that could have quite easily just played out to a 0-0 draw, because I don't think that we had that creative spark that we needed to really get a true like creative goal there. I think that if it had happened, it would have felt a little bit forced. I texted you guys like through the match. I said I felt like we were missing McAllister's creative spark there, because I don't know, it felt very labored. And I think coming out of that, I think Slot will have a lot of material to work with in terms of like, this could be better, because I still don't walk away from either of those halves being like, that was amazing. That was a prime performance.
Yeah, we never looked like we were going to take the game away from them really at all. The one thing, Kev, because I know you've got a pretty good eye for the tactics employed throughout the game. One thing I noticed was Curtis Jones making selfless lung-busting runs from midfield when the ball was at usually Virgil van Dijk's feet. And I thought we were going to see one of those balls over the top to him. He must have made a dozen of them throughout the game. And it never came.
It never came, but what it did do is it took Donny van de Beek back with him. So if Donny van de Beek is running the other way with Curtis Jones, he's not pressing Virgil. And it allows Virgil more time. And if someone decided, if Danjuma came across the other side or anyone else, then the ball was literally just moved to Gomez, out to the right wing, and then back the other side. The only thing that was kind of frustrating me right the way through the game, and it was mainly in the first half, was I thought that we had an opportunity with Salah on Daily Blend to maybe double up on that side with Trent and with Dominic Szoboszlai as well, that you could create the angle on that side. But I suppose the flip side of it is, if you do that and you have Cody Gakpo ghosting in from the left wing, that's one thing. But when you're trying to work a space or work an angle for a cross to come in, I don't know if Luis Diaz is that kind of player that you want coming in on the far post. So it's one of them. I thought the build up to the goal, we dominated. Look, from the very start of the second half, we completely dominated possession, and it was coming. There was something was going to happen. I think the penalty was nailed on once you saw it in replay. Not so much for the stand on his ankle, but more so for Van de Beek blocking Diaz with his right foot taking the shot. How many times have you seen a defender trying to get a striker trying to strike the ball and a defender getting his leg in front of of the strike, and the foul was given that way. That's what I think the penalty was given for. Not so much the standing on his ankle, but for him blocking Diaz from taking the shot in the first place. It was the more you see it, the more of a penalty it is. And brilliantly slotted away. But I think it was just reward for how dominant we were in that period of the first 15 to 20 minutes of the second half. And we pushed them back. It was like, if it didn't work one way, it was going out the other side. It was complete, total control. And that's what I wanted to see in the first half. It was just almost a case of Slot probably got into him in the second half, said, look, stretch the pitch as wide as possible. Virgil will go, push right up. You know, they don't have the pace to get away from you. You're fine. Relax. And we just completely, totally bossed it and deserved it in the end. But, you know, overall, not much really happened. Did Trent hit the post with a shot in the second half?
I think so.
Either if he didn't hit the post, he hit the stanchion because he rattled one shot and it just bounced straight back onto the pitch. So
I think it
was really late. It might have hit the stanchion or something. Because I was like, why aren't they making a bit more of a big deal about this? Because I was like, I looked up and seen he hit something and it popped back. His free kick effort was really good.
Yeah, the free kick was, I mean, it was a little bit far out. It would have been a hell of a goal had that managed to get in.
Well, the chat says that he did, so maybe we missed something.
Well, the other thing that I thought he did really well, bearing in mind he's coming back from an injury, and he didn't play. We didn't have the game at the weekend. Played the full 90. He pressed really high from minute one. You know, Salah was on Daily Blend. He was pushing right up on their left centre mid. Really high. At one stage, he went right the way up on Daily Blend. So I thought his pressing was really good. And it was like, if any game was going to test his hamstring, for the amount of sprints he was doing, that was the one. So I thought he come out of that really well.
Yeah. I think, I mean, if we pivoted onto it, Chris, and just kind of speak through in broad strokes, the end of the game, especially after we got the lead, it was fairly comfortable. Like, I've got really not a lot of huge, big starred things in my notes from after we took the lead to the end. I thought Joe Gomez had an excellent game today. And there was a period around about 80 minutes where he had 2 or 3 key interceptions where he just looked like the Joe Gomez that was Virgil van Dijk's partner, you know, when we were at our pomp 4 seasons ago, like confident on the ball, anticipating where the ball is going to go and stepping in and using his pace and physicality to get involved in the game. And I thought defensively we were very tidy.
Yeah, I thought we were in general. I think what killed us first half was I thought the front three and Szoboszlai to a certain extent were just really sloppy with the ball, which is why we were getting countered. Although you don't want Alisson to be busy, it's probably not a bad thing because actually probably got rid of some cobwebs, you know, his first game back. The only time I was worried about Alisson was I think it was Robbo did a horrendously back pass volley to him, which was like, that's one way of testing the hamstring out.
I feel like every time that happens, it's always with Alisson, and he always gives you like heart palpitations. Thankfully, he's very good with his feet, but I feel like that happens all the time.
Yeah, I did see a tweet from Thingy Lewis from the Daily Mail, who's one of the Liverpool journals. I'll be honest, the first line of it, obviously gave me a heart. I said, Alisson is having some treatment on the pitch. I went, oh no. And he said, he's put in bracket, he's not injured. It's some sort of new warm down he's doing, which I thought, maybe this is like a preventative thing. Good. Is it just me? And I thought it was me, but my wife and my daughter both said it out loud in the second half. And they said, who's in goal? I said, it's Alisson. And they both went, he's lost some weight, hasn't he?
His
and I do wonder.
Looks like he lost.
I looked at it, I thought it does look like he's leaned down a little bit. And I do wonder, maybe is that part of the preventative for muscle injuries is maybe he's carrying too much muscle mass.
They all have. I think
not easy access to Brazilian barbecue, you know?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But maybe they've just done some tweets.
Gomez has leaned out too.
Yeah. So I just wonder, and that was the thing they released in the summer was that's why they opened this coffee bar thing, wasn't it? So they all socialise in the coffee bar, not in the gym. Because for Slot's style of football, he said they were too big, they were too heavy, you know, muscle-wise. So I wonder if that's also a thing, because the way Alisson played today, that doesn't like someone who's just come back to training. I think he's been ready for a good 7 to 10 days. And I think they've just been making sure, which I think is quite good, I think it also pays credit to how well Kelleher's doing, that they've not felt the need to rush him back.
There was a quote from Slot about that post-match, actually, it was pre-match, where he talked about specifically Alisson's
Matt hates that point, clearly.
Well, that's fine. He can go and do his own thing. But no, Slot specifically said that they had basically felt really, really confident that Alisson's fitness was where it was, and that they weren't rushing him back, and that they had actually given him plenty of time to recover. So I think that was something. I think we might have seen him for the derby if the game had gone ahead, but I think it's a great feather to Kelleher's, feather to his bow or feather to his cap, whatever.
Feather to his cap.
To have him in the goal and not have to rush Alisson back.
Yeah,
here's the quote. The new guy, Mamadashvili, is injured.
Yeah,
lovely, perfect,
perfect replacement. Yeah. The quote that Ashley was talking about here from Arne Slot on Alisson, it feels really good for all of us, definitely for him. He worked really hard to get back. We didn't want to take any risk. He's definitely ready to start fitness-wise. So, yeah, I mean, the kind of flip side to what I was talking about with Gav last night with Ange Postecoglou and the two center halves for them, where it felt like they were rushed back quite quickly. But clearly, Arne Slot is a fan of having Alisson back, judging by the amount of comments about him from Arne Slot afterwards.
Just a few.
Yeah. Slot says maybe his teammates wanted to make sure he is really fit to give him a lot of work, which is slightly tongue-in-cheek. Our standards have to go up if we want to achieve something in this competition. Again, on Alisson, Slot says everyone knows he is the best goalkeeper in the world. Slot is happy with the result. The performance was not at our standards. We have to give Girona credit as well, which I think is absolutely correct. Slot says work rate is quite important. We've asked for certain standards, especially without the ball. I think that's it from Slot. And then Andy Robertson, who was awarded man of the match officially afterwards. There's a little hint of where we're going next, so get ready. Andy on Mo Salah says, I think he's played better than he did tonight. Most of us have, but when we needed him, he stepped up. And Robbo says 6 wins out of 6. You can't ask for much better than that. It's not easy to do, or else more teams would be doing it. We weren't at our best tonight. We have played better. And then to round it off, a stat from Ashley. In major European competitions, Liverpool have won 5 successive away games for the 3rd time in their history, with 2022 and 1984 being the other two. I prefer the outcome of 1984 over 2022. Kev, who would you like to have for your man of the match, honorable mention, and could improve?
I think they got it right for once, and fair play to him. I thought Andy Robertson was really good. I liked the positions that he was. And normally, I don't like him becoming that inside left forward, but he wasn't tonight. He was tucking in as an extra midfielder on the left-hand side. Sometimes he did the overlap now and again. But in general, in possession, he was calm, he was assured. Defensively, he was very good. I can't think of too many times they got in down their right-hand side, our left-hand side, if at all. I mean, his passing accuracy was 93%. Bearing in mind that he's in that position where he crosses the ball a bit as well. I think that's really, really good. I think it's like 98 passes in the game. He was really, really good. He was up there. Not outstanding by any stretch of the imagination, but defensively he was solid. And going forward, he allowed others to push on to. I think he allowed Jones and Luis Diaz to link up. And it didn't come off too much for tonight, but you could see there was a link up there where Jones was pushing more out into the wide left position, allowing Diaz to come inside. And I'd rather Luis Diaz taking up that position than Andy Robertson taking up that position. Let's put it that way. But I don't know if that would be the same combination if McAllister was playing. I don't think you'd see McAllister taking up the same positions as Curtis Jones did tonight. If he starts, I think you'd probably go back to seeing Andy Robertson picking up those inside forward positions again. But yeah, overall, I thought Andy Robertson was really good. Ryan Gravenberch's honourable mention. Again, passing, ridiculous, 95% accuracy. For someone in the middle of the park dictating play, being that release valve and taking the ball on the half turn and turning, defense into attack in transition was really good. Defensively, it was okay. I don't think it was anything spectacular. I think he won some tackles, he lost some tackles, but overall, I thought he had a really good He had a really good night. Got forward a lot more than what we'd normally see him as well. Could do better. No, could do better. Do you know what? No, I'm going to leave him alone. Could do better, Luis Diaz, because after he got booked, he done one of the most stupid, ridiculous things that in the Premier League we'll see him sent off. He got fouled, he got brought down, the referee didn't give it, and he slapped the ground as if someone had taken away his favourite toy, and he shouted back at the referee with his arms up in the air. Pure, proper petulance from him. In the Premier League, that'll get you sent off. That'll get you a second yellow card. You cannot do that, irrespective of. I mean, that could have been a different last 15 minutes of a game away from home in the Champions League if he got sent off. We were playing against 10 men. We could be having a different conversation. You just can't do that. And he's more experienced and he's better than that. Though some of his shooting was a bit off. I think it was a lot of try. He was trying really hard, but it just wasn't happening for him on the night, and that happens, But that bit of petulance on a booking, nah, you can't have that.
Yeah, you'd like to see him be a little bit more switched on than that. I can get why he was feeling a little bit aggrieved. Somebody in the chat earlier said that it seemed like they weren't quite seeing eye to eye, Luis Diaz and the ref. I thought his yellow card was a bit silly considering that he had slid in to make a tackle, was lying motionless on the ground, and the player runs into him and knees him in the back, and he gets a yellow card for it. But what can you do? What can you do? Chris, who are your 3 choices, please?
I don't think it's different to Kev. I thought Curtis Jones had a good game. I thought quite impressed that he got the balance right between helping out Gravenich Holden and his tireless running forward. So I'll give Andy Robson is probably the right answer, but I'll give it to Curtis Jones. Honorable mention. I thought second half Szoboszlai's work off the ball was really good, and also we got to mention Endo for his Didi Hamann role, which I love the Didi Hamann role that he does just to win a free kick, which is always good fun. Could do better. Look, it has to be Darwin. He's your number 9. Some of his link play in the last few games has been good, but that's now 1 goal in his last 10 appearances. That's not good enough, and he's got to find a way of getting out of this funk, because if he carries on this form, he'll be gone in the summer. I don't think he'll be gone in January because I don't see Liverpool find the replacement in January, but I could see him going in the summer. He'll be very lucky boy if he's still at Liverpool after the season. So Darwin, unfortunately, has to do better. I think some of it's confidence and some of it is he ever going to be good enough?
Yeah, it's a bummer for him, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Hopefully, if he does depart in the summer, he leaves with a couple more medals around his neck. Ashley, who was your man of the match, honorable mention, and needs to do better?
I'm going to give it to Alisson. I think first game back, he did really well. There were 7 shots on target. A few of them more dramatic than others. I don't think there was anything that really absolutely tested him, and he pulled off a spectacular save. But there were a few in there that were palm stingers, and he was asked to do a fair bit of distribution from the back. And I think for his first game back, he did really well. I think honorable mention, probably Gravenberch. I think that just in terms of tempo and everything, he felt like he benefited quite a bit from the rest that he got over the weekend. He looked like he had fresh legs again. I think Robbo did really, really well. And then I think could do better. I'm going to say Mo, because despite scoring the penalty, I think he was really, really quiet throughout the game. And I think I give him a lot of credit, and he gets a lot of man of the matches from me. Today, I felt like he was really on the outside looking in for most of the game. And thankfully, he's a player that shows up in big moments and keeps his head in the game. But, I think he could have done more today.
Yeah. It's always a good spot to be in when you're like, I know he scored the winning goal, but needs to do better.
Yeah.
I'll take that I'll take that for the rest of the
First
season.
world problems.
Exactly. I would give my man of the match to Curtis Jones. I think I really liked how he kept the ball ticking over in midfield. He seems to have a nice partnership actually with Gravenberch. They both kind of do the same things, but in slightly different ways in terms of how they handle the ball. Gravenberch is like one turn and goes forward. And there was one point where they had a slight attack and Jones collects the ball at the edge of our box and he dribbles like all the way to the left side, then all the way back to the right side. And I know people like to say he holds onto the ball for too long, but the key to that is he holds onto the ball. He doesn't really give the ball away cheaply ever. So if that means he takes an extra touch or two and draws a few other players in and opens up some passing lanes, I'm okay with that. So I think that's another good game for Curtis Jones. Honorable mention, I'm going to say Joe Gomez. I thought he did everything he needed to do at the back to keep us tight. He came close with that header. I mean, the top would have come off my house had that ball gone in.
It'll happen. It'll happen eventually.
It's just never going to happen. He's not even going to score in his own testimonial. Like, he's going to play at Liverpool for 20 years. They're going to give him a testimonial, give him a penalty, and he's going to miss it somehow. That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
David James will save it.
Hey, fuck that kid. Who gave him permission to score against David James? Who wants a child to score against him?
That's so funny. It's tough.
And in terms of needs to do better, I mean, I would say, obviously for us, you're probably just going to have to say Darwin Nunez. But I think overall, I think Dan Juma needs to learn how to shoot. Like, him and Darwin need to go to some sort of like intensive shooting camp or something like that.
With Trey Barre.
Oh, yeah. He had some dangerous moments. There was one point where he absolutely skinned Joe Gomez and left him for dead and then just blammed the ball out. And he had one, I believe, in the first half that he cut in from the left-hand side and managed to put the ball out for a throw-in. So that's always good when you're taking shots that go out for throw-ins. So
was it windy? We could maybe give credit to the wind for that one.
Yeah, maybe to the wind. Anyway, while we're sending people to finishing camp, Andy Robertson as well too, because even though we didn't need it, yeah, that's a great scoring opportunity for him just before the penalties award, and he should be doing better. But that's pretty much it. It looks like we're getting to halftime in the other games that are going on. Bayern's up 2-1. Villa Leipzig drawing 1-1. PSG up 1-0. Sporting and Brugge are drawing at 1. Brest is up 1-0 on PSV. Leverkusen and Inter Milan is still 0-0. And Real Madrid is up 1-0 against Atalanta. Just an injury time for all those. So we can all...
penalties to Atalanta, the chat saying.
Oh, lovely. Would you look at that? Seeing these live updates could have taken 2 seconds.
And then Mbappe.
Got to be extra time right now, right?
Yeah. And then Mbappe went off injured, didn't he, after he scored?
Yeah. Well,
so
that's poor Mbappe. I mean, I'm sure he'll sleep on a gigantic pile of money tonight. Yeah, I mean, let's wait and see what the result of this penalty is. In the meantime, we'll just let everybody know that footballprizes.co.uk obviously has their striker thing going on. But, of course, most importantly, we've got our charity partners that we're trying to raise our money for. 1-1. There you go. So
Megan apparently has the fastest stream of all of the Talking Reds. So well done, Megan.
Yes, connected directly to the Matrix. But yes, if you can help us out, just trying to raise some money through the GoFundMes for fan supporting food banks in Liverpool and the Lighthouse Cafe in Dublin, just helping make sure people can put food on the table when times are tough. So if you can help us out raising money for them, that would be absolutely fantastic. If you're in here and watching us, about 150 of you, please hit the thumbs up button just to help with all that algorithm silly nonsense that happens with YouTube behind the scenes. If you're not a member, please think about becoming a member. $3.99 a month of, I think it's whatever your chosen currency is. So if you can get a Canadian membership, it's cheaper than the British or Irish membership cost.
That's not fair.
Yeah, I know. That's what you get. Finally, having a weak dollar pays off. You're like, jackpot, absolute jackpot. But
there's got to be some benefit of Canada, isn't there?
We've had a few new members in the chat too. It's been great. So, like, if you want to join, there's plenty of new people that just joined. And it's great to see new faces. So welcome to everyone that has joined recently.
And if you join quickly, Gab's got a member show at 10.
Exactly. That's what I was leading up to. So yeah, in an hour and 15 minutes or so, Gab will be back on here doing a members quiz show. So that'll be exclusive live for members. So if you are a member, get involved. Shouldn't need to tell you all. You'll have your notification bells turned on and everything like that. But that's the sort of content that you get for the.
I just need to write the quiz now, don't I?
Yeah, fuck, please, not you or not me.
I'm
but
not
yes.
getting involved in this conversation whatsoever.
No, I was trying to think of something clever, but I was just going to let that sleeping dog lie for you there, Kev.
Yep.
We know
Nope.
that even the quizzes don't get along
Yeah.
very well.
We
So.
don't. We don't work. We don't
Exactly.
work.
Exactly.
Kev, we're going to get you on a draft. Did you love a draft?
Drafts are good, but I swear to God, I got the attention span of a goldfish when it comes to Liverpool games because they all merge into one after a few weeks.
I know.
It's like,
I could tell by the WhatsApps we get like a week later. You're like, did this happen? No, Kev. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, look at that. Couple of
welcome,
sales
Sydney.
people here. Hey, Sydney's just become a new member. Welcome to the Nippy Carpathians Bar, that's quite a deep cut, actually. Like that was a one-time mention
like
on one show.
Inside joke.
Yes, it's very much an inside joke, the Nippy Carpathians Bar. But Sydney will be able to join us for the member show in about an hour and 10 minutes time. Sydney, make sure to email Gav at talkinkop1@gmail.com. Download Telegram, get yourself signed up for it. Gav will get you put into our members chat in there, and you can enjoy all the silliness all day long with all the other members and contributors to the show. But anything else before we get out of here? Chris Brett.
I'll be live tweeting tomorrow from Liverpool women. Hopefully they might get a point in the cup. Who knows? It's not going well this season. So keep an eye out for that.
You've got this week to look forward to though, right?
Yeah, I've got the women's football tomorrow. I've got the Fulham game on. I'm going to the Fulham game on Saturday. And I've got watch the women play Arsenal on Sunday. So I've got a full-on football week this week.
Must be nice to be over there, just in the middle of all this football options. Son of a bitch. Ashley, anything else before we go?
No, I am a little bit jealous of all of his wonderful football trips, but no, Reds go marching on.
Exactly. And Kev, how about you? Just gonna pop over for a couple of Liverpool games? No fuss, no muss.
No, not quite. I'm just actually having a look at the table here at the minute. I mean, as it stands at the minute, Liverpool are top. Inter Milan, Brest, Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, Atalanta, Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen make up the top 8. Villa are missing out at the minute on goal difference, but that could change in the second half, along with Sporting Lisbon. Both those two are drawing in their respective games at the minute. And on the crisp of the top 24 are PSG and Real Madrid in 23rd and 24th. So it's it's still all up in the air. I mean, thankfully it looks like we're safe. We're through. We don't have the stress, but I have a feeling that this is going to go down to the last week, and it's going to be for a lot of these clubs. There's going to be an awful lot on some of those last fixtures in the Champions League. So we can sit back, relax, and enjoy watching because we're safe.
Exactly. Let's enjoy the stress of other clubs fighting for those final few scraps while we sit very comfortably at the top of the table. But I will say and agree with Kev, I think it's going to be exciting going down to the final match day, which is why they changed the format. And I have to say, so far, it helps that we are 6 wins from 6 played, but I kind of like the new format.
Gotta be honest. Me too.
Yep. So it's all good, but we will continue on with that. I imagine Gab might have a member show or 2 extra coming for the rest of the week. Get another show out there. Maybe looking forward to the Fulham match coming up on Saturday. But, you can always rely on us. We will be here, at least some of us. Obviously, Chris not, because he's going to the match. But you'll see some of us after the Fulham game on Saturday. Until then, thanks for joining us. Hit the thumbs up button and all that good fun stuff. See you later, everybody. Bye.